Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another installment of the Rogue Soul YouTube channel. It's been a long day. I just got up from a nap, and I wanted to have another heart-to-heart, another conversation, another airing out of one of my struggles and one of my things that I want to hold myself accountable about. And today I would like to talk about taking risks or making gambles in a multitude of ways. Throughout my life, I have made a lot of decisions to make for sure that I am okay. I felt that I I felt at those times while making those decisions, that those were the best decisions for me to achieve a desirable outcome. A lot of times while making those decisions, I wasn't listening to my intuition, my inner guidance. I did what was logically best at those times. With me doing that, and it's a very weird thing because I have a very weird relationship with with taking risks in life and um, taking a gamble with things. I discovered it's a lot of stuff in all folds. It's a lot of stuff that I took a risk on that I shouldn't have took a risk on, that yielded different results, that delivered unfavorable outcomes. There are some gambles that I will not do for the sake of myself feeling safe. And I'm learning and I'm navigating. And of course, there are some risks or gambles that you're completely unaware of that you're taking, because a lot of times you don't know everything, or you're just going through life. So I say that because I want to hold myself accountable in taking more risks in a more positive way. Taking risks on family because that's something that I believe in. Taking risks on myself because I want to develop more self-confidence, and I want to develop the habit of trusting myself to do what's best without having to rely on just logic, because sometimes the best decision may not make the best of sense at the time. That's what I'm learning. Now, just for examples, a lot of times I took high risks. I took high risks when it came down to sexual relations with people. And that led to a few scares as far as, catching diseases. Thank God, I'm clean and I don't have anything, but those were high risks, very high risks, with just throwing your body willy-nilly into situations that aren't the healthiest for it, willfully, uncaringly. Those risks have consequences, and sometimes those risks yield unfavorable results. So, with those scares and me being thankful not having anything, not catching any diseases or anything like that, I had to learn that it's okay to go about things a different way. You're not required to just have sex on the first day because that's just, how it's just done, how you see it done. I recognize I didn't have a lot of, good influence as far as, how developing certain relationships should go, especially of the romantic sense. However, I did learn that over time that I didn't have to subject myself or my body to these things just because this is what you feel other people are doing. This is what you feel society does. This is what you feel is supposed to happen. So therefore, I had decided to go on, a celibacy journey, and it's been rough, and it's been about 3 years now. And this is not something that I thought I would be able to make it through, unscathed or anything like that. But I did it. And now I'm learning more about myself as far as how I want to approach relationships and how I want to go about them, which is not throwing myself at people on the first night. Taking that time to build something real before that. And it's been quite interesting getting a shift in perspective about how to go about things. When you spend so long creating, observing, absorbing, mimicking, and creating doctrines about how things should be, about how things should go, and how things should lead somewhere. And learning that a lot of the risks you did take were high risk. And then also learning where you take no risk at all. Because that's what I have found out. I found out that the areas where I should be taking a risk at the areas of myself my hopes, my dreams, and what I wish to bring about just in life, period, I wasn't taking a gamble on that. I was playing the safe route. I was playing the scared route, you know. My mind instantly told me, based off of what I observed, off of what I absorbed, off of what I saw, that the best option is for you to make yourself stable. Make yourself stable. Make for sure you have money coming in. I developed a very money hungry mentality that I'm still working through currently. You have to be stable. I lived with a lot of instability in a lot of ways, as far as moving from place to place consistently, always starting over school, at different schools consistently, different houses, never really, having true time to like develop friends or relationships. And then also with mental instability, emotional instability, just observing everybody around me crack and crumble and splurt out, and I let my fear tell me that that's one thing we cannot do. If anybody is going to make it through this, it's going to be you. At the time, I seen it as a mode of encouragement, and I'm just now realizing the damage that it has done. It has caused me to be in a state of playing things safe when it comes down to my hopes and dreams and aspirations. So instead of pursuing those things, of taking a gamble on those things, of taking the risk for those things, I did what I could to make myself stable. I worked hard to obtain the job that I wanted, that could bring a very good income for myself. I worked hard to find a place for myself so that I wouldn't have to still live with relatives that I felt were against me being who I am. I didn't have to stay in a toxic environment. And truly, I just wanted to be free. So I did that. I pursued that. But all throughout that time, I also sat and continued to absorb, continued to watch, continued to see. And I was seeing other people try different things and do different things, and pursuing their own dreams. And this is, via, whatever friends that accumulate and leave through also like social media. I had to realize that played a part in it as well. And just throughout life, walking through life, going to different places and, hearing about different people's stories and seeing, them pursue their dreams and hearing about them pursuing their dreams, I started to get that bitterness, that jealousy. It started to sit and it started to accumulate more and more on top of what I already had from just growing up, period, point blank. Now this is adulthood, and I'm accumulating more on top of that because I never took the chance of my dreams. And now I'm sitting here and I'm seeing other people either do what I wanted to do, try what I wanted to try, and they either look a certain type of way, they behave a certain type of way, they act a certain type of way. They went about it this way and that way, and I felt that, if I didn't have those things, if I didn't have the look, if I didn't have the, ability to pursue it how they pursued it, that I couldn't do it either. And that brought a lot of sadness. They brought a lot of anger. They brought a lot of jealousy. But this was the route that I was on. I was, again, stability. Your main focus is to make for sure you can provide for yourself. And I also, with not taking risks like those, I took other risks as far as doing whatever I want. And of course, those risks went into sexual deviancy. It went into uncontrolled eating habits. And by eating habits, I mean lots of sweets, cookies, cakes, incomplete meals where it's just, meats and no vegetables, unbalanced diets, a lot of takeout food, and then very uncharted spending habits. I'm person enough to admit I do have a spending problem. Still do. Still working through that. I like to spend money. That's just what the fuck it is. I like when I see things and I have the money for it, being able to buy it. But a lot of times I'm not recognizing that, Javante, that comes from a poverty mindset. That comes from you feeling like you've lacked or that you do lack. So now that you have what money you do have, you can spend it on everything you want. But you're not even really taking stock. Is this really something that you want? Or are you just trying to fill a void that can't really be filled with external anything because it's internal? So it took me a while to sift through, and I'm still sifting through it, how, a lot of risks I took led to me not taking risk in other areas. How me not taking risk in certain areas allowed me to take risk in other areas, and so on and so forth. A back and forth motion. A lot of unhealthy choices that I've made. All based on trying to do the logical thing, which was make for sure you're able to provide. It's even affected the way, if I've always wanted children. I always wanted to create a little faction of my own. I've always wanted children. But it's affected me continuously pushing that back in my life. Now, I'm not saying I'm going out there and I'm getting a child now. That's definitely not happening, But it always had me in a mode of I gotta have the money. I gotta be able to provide for them. I cannot, and even to this day, I'm still the same way. I feel like I can be more healthy about it and not, and not completely like in a poverty state of mind, with it. I feel like I can be healthier with it, but I can't subjugate not just a child, anybody. I've had family that, lived with me. I I can't subjugate anybody in a predicament to where I would have to provide. I can't subjugate them to situations to where it puts everybody that puts them in jeopardy. I always have to make for sure rent is paid. Always have to make for sure light, electricity, gas, water, all that stuff is covered. I have to make for sure, again, TVs is on, cable is paid for, internet is paid for, people have work to do. People have, entertainment stuff to keep them entertained. Not 24/7, but these are things. I don't want to subjugate children through that type of loss of things. Of, oh, well, my parent wasn't able to cover, what they needed to cover. So that they had to choose between this or that, or just not understanding what's going on and crying just because the lights are off and a storm's coming, or the lights are off and you can't turn on the light due to non-payment and it's getting dark outside. I never want to put a child through any of those horrors. So my first priority when it comes down to children, having children, or, any of that, is that I would need to make for sure that I'm stable or financially stable in the sense that I'm able to take care of them. I believe I can do that in a healthier fashion than just, continuing on this state of I gotta be stable to the point where I'm sacrificing my dreams and aspirations, because it is a part of my dreams and aspirations to have children. You know, I realize that I don't have to continue to put it like on hold forever. But I recognize within myself, I want to be able to take care of the children. I want to be able to do that, either by myself or with a partner. If I choose to do so with a partner, I wish to have a partner that's also financially sound and stable in that. But that's just me. Those are, the decisions that I feel are best for me and are best for, just best for me. And I know a lot of times there are a lot of things that I've always just put on the back burner, you know, and now, of course, like in this part of my life, a lot of things are coming up, that were always like on the back burner that I shut away, like different aspirations or different things that I've liked that I sort of just not stopped liking, but put away, out of sight, out of mind, stop thinking about it. I'm on a mission. And my mission was to always find my life purpose. I realized that from a young age I took a risk on what I was always taking a risk on what I could be, on what I could be, a risk on future stock, not understanding that I wasn't putting any stock in the present. Wasn't putting any stock in the present to be able to develop that future. And then also realizing that a lot of stuff that, you know, I put stock in, of course, what I could. A lot of stuff that I did put stock in, future wise, that I did try to develop in the presently, was not good for me, and it wasn't good for anybody else. Developing, again, bad personality traits, developing uncaring attitudes, developing crassness and unkindness. And I had to sit and I had to take stock of, I literally had to sit and I had to look at where my risk taking was. How, with not really putting a lot of stock in the present, but always gambling on the future, I wasn't really setting myself up for any true benefit that could come out of it. You know, it's always going to be a gamble. It's always going to be like a shot. But it's up to you, and by you, I'm also talking to myself. You know, it's up to me to take the shots that are actually worth a damn to me, and not the shots that are just playing it safe all the time and leaving me in a state of unhappiness. You know, taking those risks on myself and putting the stock in myself instead of taking a gamble on the next item that I buy. You know, and you know, also realizing that that's a lot. That's a lot to take in. That's a lot for me to realize. It's a lot of undoing of a lot of systems that I have within myself that I've built, you know, that I'm working through, and, you know, trying to debunk and then rebuild new systems for myself, you know, for the betterment of me. But I say all this to encourage myself to, again, like I said, take more risk on the betterment of me, take more risk in the things that I care about, take more healthier risks, you know, take healthier gambles. You don't always have to, doing healthier stuff isn't always a safer. When I say playing it safe, I mean taking a gamble on something that's not fulfilling, that's just done so out of fear, that just keeps you even kill or on the same level as society. You know, a healthier option is actually safe in the regards to, you keep your body safe, you keep, you know, it can help you emotionally, mentally, choosing more healthier things for yourself. Food, what you ingest physically, what you ingest mentally, what you ingest emotionally, and what you learning more about yourself and what's healthy for you, and being more in tune with that. You know, I discovered I had a lot of unhealthy risk taking, and my risk taking was all over the place, all over the place. A lot of times it just didn't make sense. Well, why would you risk that, but you didn't risk that? Why would you risk that, but not that? That doesn't. It made sense to me at the time, regardless of how I see it now or how anybody else sees it. I made it make sense. Because a lot of things in life is a choice. And, I made choices based off of things I absorbed, things I saw, things that I wanted, and I created a very mixed bag of gambling on different things in life. So I'm I'm gonna continue to work through this, for my highest good. I'm gonna continue to put forth to take a gamble on me, take more of a gamble on the healthier things for me. And I encourage, anybody that, if anybody, sees this, I encourage them to do, the same. If you're going through this, similar circumstances, have gone through similar circumstances, it is possible. You don't have to stay in the same space of feeling like you always have to play it safe, feeling like you always have to conform to what you believe society wants from you, and also realizing that society is you. You are a part of society, so you do have the choice to go a different way. You know, these are only things and constructs that certain people agree with. You don't necessarily have to agree with it. You can do things on your own. You can take the shots that you want to take. And I say that to myself as well. you know, I don't, Javante, you don't have to stay in this state. You don't have to listen to what you feel society wants. You are a part of society and you can choose different. But that's what I wanted to discuss today. I wanted to discuss taking better risks for your well-being, taking a gamble on yourself, trusting yourself, your intuitions, and giving yourself the chance to at least try to reach these goals, at least try to put forth, effort into things that matter to you. And with that, I'm going to let you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of mine. And I will see you guys in the next video. All right? Bye-bye.